Good afternoon, everyone. It is July 23rd, 2023. Globex has just opened up, and let's get into the weekly outlook. Now, coming into last week, what I was looking for was I thought we'd get a move down to around here, 45, kind of 65 to 85, fill out that gap, trap some shorts, and that would give us the fuel up to 46.02. That was my target zone for the end of the week. And instead, we got the opposite. We ended up barely dripping down during Sunday, held last week's value area high, and from there on, we just marched our way up. We broke the high, last week's high, the week prior's high, broke a quarterly high, tagged my 46.02 target. I think the high of the week was 46.09 or something like that. And then from there on, we just kind of dipped a little bit. We ended up closing, I believe, above last week's RTH high, so quite a productive close. Overall, what we saw was the Nasdaq just being a constant weight on the ES. This is a good example over here. Is that so? Similarly, the Nasdaq had its rally and everything, but on this Wednesday session, while ES was able to break through the prior day's high, like it spent the entire day that Wednesday session. I think right here spent the entire session pretty much above the prior day's high. NQ in the meantime, it was struggling to even break it. It just spent the entire day failing repeatedly. So that's how I was looking at this. Was that the NQ was just this constant weight on ES all week. The NQ closed way below its prior week's high, and it made a move down to monthly VWAP. That's that white line that you're looking at, this squiggly line. It moved down to monthly VWAP. Whereas ES remains far above. ES is currently monthly VWAP, I believe, is sitting at 45.11. So overall, we have a busy week. We have flash PMI tomorrow morning. Tuesday, we've got big earnings after the bell. Wednesday is going to be the big one with FOMC as well as Meta reporting after the bell. Thursday, GDP. Friday, PCE. Just a lot of news hitting. And overall, I think it's important to take a larger view now. Overall, what have we done? We've come back to where we had this big sell-off. Now, what I'm in favor of is that in general, and timing this is one thing, but in general, in the back of my head, what I'm thinking is that we'll get a sell down to 4,300 before I move to 4,700. So in general, I think we will end up balancing somewhere around here for a little bit, and somewhere around here, and we'll get that sell, usually in September. So we have end of month coming up this week as well. That'll start on Wednesday. So you've got a ton of news. You have a massive Fed decision here. They're always big. And in general, if you look in the past, the E-mini has never not traded. So in other words, it has always closed a contract gap. And you can see this is the contract gap from 0.75 quarter to 27.5, this old high here. So this should get filled at some point. And in my opinion, if you start to trade 4,700, it's unlikely that you're going to not take out the all-time high. So to me, we have a temporary swing high here. Maybe call it a quarterly swing high that we can trade against. And overall, I want to see a move down to 4,300-ish around that late August, kind of September time. July is just about done. It's our most bid time of the year. And that's how I'm overall viewing this thing. Now, let's get into more of the specifics on a weekly time frame now that we're done with that. What am I looking for? Well, if we throw on a little, there we go. Oh, if we throw on one of these, switch this to monthly, bring the ticks per row down to 1, and throw on a developing point of control. What am I looking for? Well, here's where all the volume has been done this month. 44.38, I believe. 45, sure. It might be a little bit off with external trading hours and everything, but in general, what I want to see is if we can get this monthly point of control to shift up to around 44.75 or so, what I'll be looking for is a move back to monthly VWAP, just like we had on the Nasdaq. It shifted up to around here, and then we sold off into monthly VWAP. So that's going to be what I'm looking for this week is, do we get the shift in volume, and then do we accept above that volume, or instead do we start coming down into monthly VWAP? 43.85, this kind of 65 to 85 remains an important area. If we break that 65, I think we'll come back down to our previous monthly point of control at 38. If that breaks, I think you end up with a liquidation scenario where all these breakout players here who were inside this balance playing for the breakout, they'll start liquidating. You come down to 43.85. That becomes the next major area to hold. If that breaks, you start trading 4,300, filling that contract gap. Again, I don't think all of that's going to happen. I think you're going to have a move downwards overall this week. Just the idea being that we have put in a swing high. I think you're going to have a move down overall this week, but I don't think it'll be anything astronomical just about yet. Similarly, on the Nasdaq, we've already come into this balance high here, just like that 43.85 number on the ES. We're already here, in my opinion. So I think you'll have a similar scenario. We're going to come to where that we broke out of, around this 278 area. I think there's a gap going down to 278 3/4, just right here. I think you're going to close that gap. I would not be trying to. It's hard to say. I do not see the reason why you'd be trying to play for a aggressive up move at this point. I think the large high time frame move has occurred. On the Nasdaq, we hit that 16,000. That was the number I was looking for, kind of the middle of this balance. I think roughly it gives you the middle, something like that. Yeah, about there, 980-ish. So overall, I wouldn't say I'm bearish. I wouldn't say I'm bullish. I think we put in a quarterly swing high on the ES, maybe the same on the Nasdaq. You have a lot going on this week. The rebalance is done. You've got 3 huge earnings. You have the FOMC announcement. You've got tons of other data. You're done we're finishing one of the most bullish months of the year. End of month is starting on Wednesday. I think overall, this will be a great week to play it day to day. Don't try and come up with any sort of huge predictions. Just play it day to day, and I'll just be looking at my daily plans and playing it like that. I'm not looking for some sort of huge move down to 4,300. I'm not looking for the all-time high this week. Just looking to play it day to day. Hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. Have a great night. Trade safe.